Today, I want to share something truly special, a story from Buddhist tradition that centers on a woman's journey. In the long history of Buddhism, most of the recorded stories and teachings have been told through the lives of male monks, masters, and scholars. Female voices, though equally profound, were often left in the background, hidden between the lines of ancient texts. But today, we're bringing one of those rare and powerful stories to light, a story of wisdom, strength, and spiritual awakening from a woman's perspective. It is a reminder that enlightenment is not bound by gender and that compassion and insight have always belonged to all humanity. So, let's take a moment to step into her world and discover the beauty and courage of this lesser known but deeply inspiring Buddhist story. The female Niyama disciples of Milarepa, the five that entered sky life, and four sisters. According to Dan Martin, Sanya Darbo's 16th century history text lists five women: Beta, Milarepa's sister; Saley, his childhood fiancée; Dirichama, and Saley O, and Pilderbum, as among Milarepa's disciples that entered the sky life without leaving physical bodies behind. It also separately lists a similar group of disciples termed the Four Sisters as Rechengma of Tsongpa. She doubted Milarepa's realization upon their first meeting, but she later gained complete faith in him. Milarepa imparted to Rechengma all the fit instructions without reserve. She practiced in complete silence for 8 years and attained enlightenment through the practice of inner head tumo. At the time of her passing, she had become a leading exponent of Milarepa's teaching. Saley O. Nianang. She rebuked Milarepa when first meeting him, but afterwards meditated in solitude for many years, achieving enlightenment. She later taught the Dharma to many disciples through Tibet. Pilderbum of Chang similarly achieved complete enlightenment in a single lifetime. After first scorning and belittling Milarepa upon their encounter, she was converted to the Dharma by his beautiful songs. Pilderbum succeeded in being able to enter into higher dimensions while in her human body, playing a drum for all to hear. At the time of her death, she is said to have bodily vanished, ascending into pure realm of the Guinness. Chamo Beta, his real sister Beta. There is also history by Niangrao that mentions, unfortunately without listing the individual names, a group of 9 women disciples of Milarepa who were siddhas. Teringma was also said to be tamed by Jitsu Milarepa and became 10th level Bodhisattva and is now frequently prayed to as a holy protector of the Dharma. Martin mentions that most of the women disciples of Milarepa tend to be referred to with the rather unusual term niyama, an absolute word, still remembered but difficult to define, or the word niyama is often translated as a woman or maiden or even vagina. It seems Women were also seen as walking vaginas, much like today. Saley was one of the four male-female disciples of Milarepa, who became a fully enlightened Mahasiddha under his guidance. She was said to be around 16 years old and physically pretty when she meets Milarepa. When he comes down from his meditation cave and goes to Nyanong where she lives, and she scolds and rebukes his begging for food. The same night she had an auspicious dream and believed it must be due to him. Saley sees Milarepa the following day and asks him who he is and about the dream. I dreamed that the sun and moon were inside of me, but they had no light. Then another sun and moon dawned in the east, and the light from those lit up the sun and moon within. The sun and moon went out of my body and then mixed with the light of the sun and moon of the east. With that, I could see the entire universe become completely illuminated. If I follow and attend the Jitsung, will the Dharma dawn for me? When Milarepa tells Saley he is a beggar, and then confirms that he is Milarepa, and that dream and that the dream may have been caused by him. She is filled with devotion and requests to him to be her guru, offering some gold. When Milarepa, testing her depth of renunciation, responds, I do not want your gold. It is very seldom that the rich can practice the Dharma, though they may have great ability to in other things. Since you are still very young, I think it is better for you not to renounce the world completely. Now listen to my song. By the kindness of the Father Jitsung, all appearances are made of gold. I have no need for your little treasures. This song with 5 examples and the meaning making 6. I have sung for a faithful student, but your faith right now is merely passing, and it is difficult for it to become constant and unchanging. Therefore, young girl, it is best that you go. In the future, you can focus one-pointedly on Dharma. Care for your spouse as though he were divine. Care for your children to whom you are karmically indebted. Restore the ruins of forties on high. Work vigorously in the fields and cultivate them fully. Care for your livestock just like your own child. Above, make offering to the 3 jewels and the Guru. Below, care with kindness for suffering and poor. In between, have respect for your parents in love. Be friendly with the neighbors in your own land, and make supplications to this old man. Aspire to meet the Dharma in the future. I aspire that your life be auspicious and long. Considering her young age, Saley's song replied to Milarepa's deliberately patronizing test and refusal to be her guru is an extraordinary lament about the sadness and suffering of female's life, from birth to being a child, a lover, leaving her parents, a mother, and more. She soulfully responds to each of Milarepa's points, using the same metaphors of spouse, companion, children, fortress, crops, livestock, and so on, as source of sorrow and suffering, something many women can relate to. Great Rappa, please listen. I offer with devotion this sincere request. You will know if the words are true or not. I myself have such huge despair and contemplated what can be done, remembering deeply impermanence and death. Since my mother birthed me until now, I have seen many die old and young. Life is impermanent, like dew on the grass. Days and hours pass without feeling. Life is impermanent like dewdrop on grass. Wherever it is, there is no place where a person does not die. I understand. Knowing for sure I have to die, having no choice or power, where will I go? When thinking of suffering in the lower realms, I am extremely fearful of suffering found there. Considering the other ways of samsara, engaging in miserable householder life, when using the utensils of samsara, one's kind parents are cast behind, yoked and carted often off to an unkind man, laying the foundation for the lower realms, chopping down the tree of higher realms and liberation, carrying the load of my parents' wealth to a meaningless life as a servant. The companion who plunges your neck into the yoke, at first a smiling divine man, in the middle a black-faced demon, at the end a bull ready to beat you. Thinking thus, melancholy arises. So this girl shall practice divine dharma and be a companion of water sibling friends. Then, of the children of bodily born, those possessing merits are few. It is possible that same have good karma, yet most are chasing payment of karmic debts. At first, they rob the body's radiance. In the middle, they rob food from the mouth. At the end, they rob wealth from the hands. Thinking thus, I felt melancholy. So this girl shall practice divine dharma and nourish the smile child of awareness. As for temples, hotels, and so on, few were constructed with real meaning. Those fortress dungeons of samsara at first invite mental suffering, in the middle hang you up with torment, at the end leave you in the rubble ruins. Thinking thus, I felt melancholy. So this girl shall practice divine dharma and erect a fortress of indestructible concentration. Other than forms and teachings of the Tathagata and the virtuous streams of the faithful, farm and field works are meaningless. At first, fighting over empty land, in the middle, fighting over sources of water, at the end, fighting with angry-faced people. Thinking thus, I feel melancholy. So this girl shall practice divine dharma and tame the field of wild mind. If one seizes the mind of bodhicitta intention, it is possible for merit to come. If not, then focusing on gathering wealth by caring for a livestock is negative work. At first, the envious mind of desire is present. In the middle, arrogance and jealousy flourish. At the end, it signals enemy to come. Thinking thus, I felt melancholy. So this girl shall practice divine dharma and compassionately care for the livestock, six classes of beings, not taking hold of one's own faults always seeing faults in others. How can one be in harmony with all, even our flawless friend, the omniscient teacher Buddha, by those full of negativity and non-virtue, was seen to have heaps of faults. Thus, there is no harmony with all, and one can never take hold of human minds. Thinking thus, I feel melancholy. So, this girl shall practice divine Dharma and look at the face of my own mind. For you, an emanation of the Buddha, all appearances dawn as gold. Even when not dawning, there is no existence or non existence. This, my worldly heartfelt stuff, I offer in order to abandon craving, abandon thing for which there is great craving. The victorious one have said, if one uses illusion like food and wealth for virtue, it will become meritorious. The Buddhists have said, such I heard with my ears. Thus I offer this to you. Having accepted this sign of devotion, please kindly teach the divine Dharma. After singing it, she pleads with Milarepa to teach her and take her as his student, which he does, giving her the name Saley and advising her to meditate in the mountains in solitude. O faithful meditator Saley, wipe the dirt from the mirror of the mind and look into the space of stainless sky. With the blessing of all the previous siddhas, go meditate in the mountains, in a solitary places. The reason for wandering in mountain retreats is to gain mastery. Look at mind's nature. Now I will explain the way to look. Listen without distraction, Saley O. The story ends by saying that accordingly, Saley O remained inseparable from mountain retreats and meditated. Through this, she became a self-liberated Dagini who benefited the teaching and sentient being. This is one of the stories of four primarily female disciples of Jetsung that were written down by Nigenjong Tongpa Chanchuk Gyalpo, who was the Dharani of perfect memory. Song of Saley O, translated by Adele Tomlin.